In 2012, I was talking with a friend about the beginning war in Syria, and we were thinking, how could we help? How could we get involved to help the Syrian people? Because we knew that the war was growing, and more people were leaving the country. And so we contacted friends in Lebanon and also in Jordan and said, is there anything going on? Is there anyone working with the Syrian refugees? And so we found out about this small little church here in Mafraq, Jordan, which is just maybe 10 kilometers from the border of Syria. And we connected with them and we said, hey, can we come help? And they gladly welcomed us.
Distribution when they took the big truck around and to Syrians who had registered for like an initial help package. I went and helped to deliver those. On those ones you don't stay in the home to visit, maybe briefly, you talk a little bit, but they're not long visits, you mainly drop the stuff off and go. Mostly what I've done though is gone on just home visits to places that, to homes that are being followed up by the long-term workers here. They keep up with these families. It's not just drop off the stuff and leave. They are actually looking to build relationships with them. So it was nice to be able to go with the team, and actually some of the team members could interact with the Syrians themselves, because I could maybe not perfectly interpret, but I could interpret what was going on. And, so everybody could be involved in the conversation.
One of the interesting things that's different between Western culture and the Middle East and Arab culture is that if you want to honor someone, you go and visit them in their home. You go and call on them, you show up, you let them know that they're important. And so when people volunteer to come on these trips and make themselves available to travel across an ocean, to take time off of work, to go and sit in the home of these families, it means so much.
Visiting in someone's home honors them, and it shows that you love them, so that you desire a relationship with them. And there are other NGOs, there are other charity organizations, Islamic charities, secular NGOs from the West that are here, and they can go get stuff, they can go get food, they can go get things they need. But many of them told me that these Christians love us because they come and visit us in their homes. And it's such a process of healing, just to know somebody cares enough to go and sit with them an hour or 2 hours and sip their tea, drink their coffee, and just let them share their stories and share their pain. And we pray for them, and they really appreciate that. It was kind of one thing I was a little bit nervous about at the beginning. I'm a Christian, they're Muslim, should I pray for them? And no one they've said, please pray for us. And so we'll pray for them, and they just are so appreciative. Three nights ago, we went on a visit, Scott and I and Kareem and my daughter Joy, and visited Nasser. Abu Sagar is his name. His oldest son, Sagar, has been injured, and when we were here back in May, he was kind of stuck at the border with wounds in his arm and his leg, and he told us this trip that he was home now, but he couldn't get across the border, and he had to actually make his way back up to Turkey to get out of the country to receive medical treatment up there. While he was there in Turkey, he had actually taken one of his wife. He's married to 2 wives, and then her 3 children went with them, and he actually sent them on a boat to Libya so that she could actually hopefully find work because he just couldn't support him here any longer. And according to him, the ship sank. The boat sank just off the coast of Libya, and the wife and two of the children drowned. There was one little girl, 5 years old, that was saved, and she's living with the Libyan family right now. But of course, all of her documentation went down with the boat, so he's got to have some kind of proof that that's his daughter, and he's struggling on trying to figure out how to get her back here. His brother is there, Abu Hussein. I can't remember his first name. In the Arab world, when you have your firstborn son, they start calling you the father of the name of your firstborn son. So his son's name is Hussein, so he's Abu Hussein. His son is about 13, 14 years old, and apparently had some kind of congenital heart defect from birth. Through a humanitarian organization, an NGO that works here in Jordan, they were able to get permission to actually go to Israel and have open heart surgery for his son.
So the group that they connected with here brought them, facilitated them going to Israel for the surgery.
Basically a very, very major surgery that was provided for them completely free. The neat part of this story is he told us that from his background and from his life, all he had ever heard about the Israelis or the Jews is they're just the most vicious, brutal people on the planet and all terrorists, and he was scared to death of them and hated them. And he said, when I went there, I found them to be completely opposite of what I had been told. He used the expression, they are the top of humanity, in my opinion now. And that he said he and his son encountered nothing but the utmost respect and kindness from them while he was there.
Yeah, he even said that he would, if he could, he would love to become an Israeli citizen and live in Israel, which is almost mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Syrian Arab man.
I come to United States because I work with the U.S. Army before in Iraq. I work contractor about 4 years from 2003 because there is very danger. Anyone work with the Army, he will have too much problems. So I received letter from the terrorist people. If you stay with the Army, we'll kill you, we'll bomb your house, and then. The Army, when they find I am in danger, so they help me to move to the United States. So I go to Iowa. I have like a good experience about the refugee, and always I fall because I am before the refugee. So I need help. So when I do this job, I think I won't make God is happy, and also I will be happy from inside. Here the people when like if they coming here and they don't have paper and they have to stay in the camp, and the camp is very, very bad life there. Like someone living in the tent. Put yourself and you live in the tent. What's the weather? How's the school? About the kids? So everything is bad. So we try to do something good for these people.
Nobody wants to live in the refugee camp. I mean, it's where they have to go initially, and those who have some money or have some kind of resources, if they can get out, they do, and so that's why the population of Mafraq has grown from about 60,000 Jordanians originally to probably somewhere around 150 to 160,000 now, so way more than half are now Syrian refugees. There are many Jordanians, businessmen that are trying to make a buck off of the situation, and so they're throwing up little cinder block houses as fast as they can, because then they rent them out to Jordanians and increasing the rents. Rents have tripled in the town since the war started, since what they were before. So it's created a lot of pressure on the Jordanian economy and also on the Jordanians themselves, because their rents go up, and the other difficult thing is the Syrians aren't allowed to work. Jordanian unemployment was already 25%, so they just can't afford to have Syrians taking jobs and driving labor prices down. So they're pretty much dependent on either, doing little stuff on the side to make a buck here, or handouts from the church, or they're supposed to get money, food coupons from the United Nations. At the beginning of this month, we were just told those were cut in half for lack of funds. So their situation here is getting worse and worse. I was told before that if they got caught working, it was like a 50 JD's fine. And this trip, I was told that if they get caught working now, they get shipped back to Syria. Nasser and his brother both said that they're 2 months behind on their rent, and their landlord is threatening to kick them out if they don't come up with the rent.
Mafraq is a small city in Jordan. The word Mafraq means crossroads, because it used to be a crossroads on the trading routes many years ago. You walk down the street, I kind of obviously stand out as a Westerner and not a local, and the little kids will be like, "Hello, hello, how are you? What's your name? What's your name?" and then when we go in the homes, we visited with a number of local Jordanians. The pastor here always has us over to his home. Incredible hospitality.
One of the things that struck me is just there's so many children here, Syrian refugee children, and these children saw some horrendous things that little children 4 or 5 years old should not have been able to see. That one of their little girls didn't speak for 3 or 4 months. She was so traumatized, and it was basically through the relationships with the church here and just people loving her and befriending her and coming here and playing games that she's just come out of her little shell and just a happy little kid now. And that's been so much fun. And actually just watching them play, we had a party here yesterday for them, and just the parents just are beaming because they see their kids just having fun.
Being kids again.
Being kids again.
هذا سامري، هذا يهودي.
What's happening now in our area is not usual thing. Yeah, there is some wars happened before. It's not the same. It's not the first time. But this is a unique and the big chance of reaching out people. And it's something happening not just for the Syrians. The whole area now is a big field for ministry. But God is bringing different people from different countries in our country. It's a safe country and a stable country, and it has rules and freedom. So we can use this and reach out to many people. It's a moment in time of history which is not repeated every decade or every 2-3 decades. So God is using it. It's a time in history. It's not accident. What's happening? It's I don't say that God is planning for these things, because there are a lot of killing, a lot of scattering, a lot of torturing people, but God is using it for many of them would be saved.
I have heard in the last few years what has been happening in the Mafraq Church, and like I said, I've been involved in it for a very long time, and one thing that has just totally blessed me this trip, I feel like it's many years of prayer that's come to fruition. When we first came to Jordan, many Christians, as much as they loved Jesus and loved other people, they were afraid to share with Muslims, and even some thought a Muslim couldn't be saved. There were exceptions, Pastor Noor, his brother, there were exceptions to that, people that were witnessing to Muslims, but most just did not. And then a ladies' prayer group started in this church, and at the beginning it was praying for each other's families and physical needs, and maybe every once in a while there's a hospital here that evangelizes and treats people with TB. So maybe they might pray for blessing upon that. But I just have watched over the years evolve. They started to begin to pray for their neighbors here in Mafraq, and most of them, of course, are Muslim. They started doing prayer walks around the city. Then they began to pray for the Islamic countries around them. And actually, we're beginning to get a burden. So coming here now after being away for 3 years, it's like all this that has been slowly progressing over the years has just exploded. And it's just been a joy to watch them, witnessing to them and truly loving them. I've just watched as they've talked, and it has just totally blessed me. It's been above and beyond. And even the young people in the church have been involved in it, which, you know, it's been amazing. I don't have words for it.
What I want exactly, first thing, I want to send letter to the government, to the American government. This is very important to find a way for these people. I know America they have like opened the door for many refugees from different countries. So the important to work hard. I know the rule is very slow there, but these people in danger. We see him already. We visit him in the home. We're talking too much with these people face to face. So we really need from the American government more help. Need like open the door for these people. These people is very tired, is very sick. Need like emergency help, please.
Some short-term volunteers for a week decided to come for another trip. Some decided to come for another year or 9 months, and some to be 2 years or 4 years. And some, it's not limited. So it's God's call. Our mission here as leaders of this ministry is to help those who are called by God to be settled, find their houses where they can live, assigning them to the ministry, help them in the ministry, send them with long-term volunteers till they be able to do ministry by themselves. So our mission is not to invite or call people, it's just to facilitate the ministry of called people here, or Christians in Mafraq.
لتكن عيناك وقلبك معنا في كل أيامنا لك نرفع.
You know, it doesn't look hopeful at the moment, and there doesn't look like there's any end in sight for the war, but it can't go on forever. One thing that's really interesting is nearly every Syrian family, I've asked them this question, what do you want? What's your hope? And that my hope, they always say, my hope is for this war to end so I can go home. We want to go home, you know, back to Homs or to Damascus or to wherever they're from and rebuild, because that's where we're from. That's where our families were.
One of the interesting things about going on a trip like this is that when I tell people I'm doing it, they say, well, we'll pray for you. Be safe. They're very scared and concerned for me, which I'm very grateful for, obviously. But I've never been fearful on these trips. I've only encountered friendly, hospitable, warm, caring people. And I really hope that as people come on these trips and they go back and share these stories, that more and more people will think, oh, you know, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could get involved. And in reality, a lot of the people that come on a trip, they're a little concerned. They have a little worries. Their families are concerned for them. And so to see them come and to have these great positive experiences and grow and be able to go back to America or to whatever country they're from and share that there's a great thing going on here. In the midst of all the tragedy, in the midst of all the hardship, there's a great thing going on in Mafraq, Jordan, and people, anyone can get involved and go have a part in it and be a part of the solution and help bring hope.
I thank the Lord for everything that He entrusted us here for this ministry, and He is empowering us every day. We live day by the grace of God, not by our own strength as human beings. I thank God for all volunteers who are coming now to Mafraq as long-term or short-term volunteers, and I thank all the Christians around the world who are praying and coming and supporting the ministry.
I am the assistant trip leader.
He is the assistant to the trip leader. And there's a difference.
Get a chance to go to Mafraq and serve at the Alliance Church, I highly recommend it. It'll change your life.
إلى مدى الأيام